Welcome back to Inside Sources. In this segment, I'm going to be having a conversation with the Senior Special Assistant on Foreign Affairs and Protocol to the President. And we're going to be talking about some of the global and international dimensions of some recent developments in our country. So I'd like to welcome back to Inside Sources, Mr. Ademola Oshodi, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Foreign Policy. My brother, you're welcome back to Inside Sources.
Thank you very much. Thank you
for
having me along.
A lot has happened since our last meeting, so I'd like to hear your views. There is the perception that the issue of internal security in Nigeria has become a foreign affairs crisis with the intervention of the American president. Do you agree with that perception?
Thank you again for having me. The internal crisis in Nigeria is quite complex, and it's taken, of course, a lot of international attention based on the utterances of the American president on the matter. But it's something that has been bedeviled the country for decades. We've had crises from whether from independence, civil war. There's always been some ethnic thing, Matasini. There's of course, the Ogoni crisis, and there's also, of course, the Boko Haram and the banditry issue. So having international focus on it, I believe, will give us definitely more attention and give us more assistance. I believe the government will be be able to see the fact that this is something that they have to put more effort towards, and also the international community will be able to assist us even better with this, huge torchlight being shown upon us. So it has its benefits, I think.
Okay, yes. Really, yeah, I like that. I like that view.
Yes,
because I also believe that we can leverage on some of the strength of a country like America, if we can find a mutual, understanding.
Yes, it is interest. It is in the Americans' interest also to ensure Nigeria is stable. It's a reliable trading partner, and it's also provides a lot of security for West Africa, especially in the coast with piracy in the Sahel. And there's a lot of American investments in Nigeria. It's if not the largest or the second largest in Africa. So it's in their interest. And of course, the Nigerian diaspora in America, they're also very strong professional force. So it's of course it's something that Nigeria doesn't take very lightly, and I'm sure the president doesn't.
Excellent. So can you give us a bit of an insight, into what kind of assistance specifically do you think the federal government will be requesting of the Americans?
I'm not a security person, but I can imagine intelligence. The biggest thing is intelligence. America's huge satellite network, their communication expertise, and probably even people boots on the ground and and everything. So it's intelligence, I believe, that we need the most, and we also need them to sell us arms. We need guns, and we need tanks. Sorry, I was going to sneeze here. And we need all sort of ammunition to fight, and planes to fight this banditry and insurgents around the north, and even the coast of Nigeria. So that's, I think, is the two most important things.
Okay, excellent. I mean, I like your take. Understanding that we can actually use American support. That's always been my own view.
Yes.
But if you look at the relationship, the Americans seem to be pushing the agenda of the genocide.
Yes.
Congressman Riley Moore, who just left the country, after Mr. Nuhu Ribadu led a delegation to Washington, D.C. several weeks ago, that the congressional delegation also came to Abuja this past week. And he just tweeted that the things that he saw in Benue, that even he was told that the IDPs, at times are even subject to attack by the militias. is this, how do you respond to that?
It's if it's true, I think it's rather unfortunate. But Nigeria is going through its challenges. So IDP, churches, mosques, schools. We could be rather vulnerable in any space. The most important thing here, Laulu, is to ensure that we have the cooperation of this international community, especially the Americans. The Americans may criticize and they may touch light on issues we have, but it's one thing to to abuse or insult or to criticize, but right. It's one thing to now provide solution. I remember when I was in school way back, and my lecturer would tell me that tell us that it's easy to criticize the West, and talk about colonialism, talk about imperialism, and things like that. But a lot of it is also how the West has moved beyond that. We can't keep holding on history, move beyond that to provide as much assistance as possible, even though it's in their interest. So it's important we move away from finger pointing and find real solutions. The IDPs are very, very, it's really a rather unfortunate position. I went to one, I think, years ago in the early days in Bonu, and it was just very brief. But it's the fact that they have left their homeland and they've been deprived of so many things, and school, security, and everything. It is rather unfortunate. And any attack on any Nigerian, it should be taken very serious.
Excellent.
Yes.
Let's move on to the issue of the coup in Republic of Benin.
Yes.
Of course, Nigeria responded very swiftly and supported the Talon administration.
Yes.
But a lot of Nigerians have been saying that, hey, we have our own crises here, and we haven't seen enough, to try and reduce our problem, confront it frontally, and now we are going to help Republic of Benin. We are deploying fighter jets. Can you just help us clarify how it is the government is able to balance these things?
Laulu, I can bet you I was ready for this question. Everybody in social media, a lot of people in social media, have been very critical of Nigeria's intervention. I think there's more praise than actual criticism, but that's just me. It is really, really important we stabilize our region. It affects us. We talk about banditry, we talk about Boko Haram. These people get supplies of arms from other parts of Africa, from the breakdown of the Libyan state, from the removal of Colonel Gaddafi. There's also roaming people, insurgents and rebels in Niger, Burkina Faso that are infiltrating our borders. There's issues of banditries and, cross-border movement. So, and then there's this military takeover in most of our neighboring countries. You understand? We can't speak with these people. They've left Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso have left ECOWAS. We don't have a good relationship with them. Benin happened to be the same thing, which is one of our biggest trading partners in West Africa. Yeah. I mean, even
right in our backyard.
Absolutely, trading that could be legal and illegal, with smuggling and also officially with ECOWAS. It is important we don't have a state that is unstable there, a military government that has usurped the wishes of the people, and a military government that will incite other people to take up arms against a democratic government. So you think a successful coup in Benin will be the end of it? You don't think another soldier will come in Benin and feel enticed? Somebody will come up in another West African country and be disinfected by this huge contagion of military takeover. So it's important we safeguard our borders, our neighboring countries, and it affects us. We talk about, we can never defeat criminality in Nigeria. Never. In no country has. There's always some issue or the other. There's always a challenge. But we can safeguard our country by also I stress also ensuring our neighbors are in a better, stable position, for our own security. And that's what the president did by intervening with the request of the Benin government to safeguard democracy in that state.
Back to the issue of ECOWAS. The ECOWAS last week, a few days ago, announced that it was declaring a state of emergency in ECOWAS. Can you explain to us what that meant? It's
basically saying that, there's now a legal framework for ECOWAS countries to cooperate and focus on security that is affecting everybody. The issues of again, criminality, banditry, and especially coup d'etats and attempted coups. So ECOWAS has now said, look, we now have the legal means to cooperate. If there's a coup attempt, there could be an opportunity for ECOWAS to intervene. And if there's for instance, if there's there's a flow over of rebels or of people coming to a different state, ECOWAS can easily intervene with this standby force of 6,500 troops. So Nigeria did a magnificent job in, on moving fast in Benin, and we did that with the legal framework, with the presidency of Benin inviting Nigeria and ECOWAS. And that's number one. Number two, we had, for instance, we had the president still operational. That helped. And we also had the fact that, there was operational forces on ground. So Nigerian planes moved in, troops on standby. All these things quickly helped. And if we didn't do that, I think we had another successful coup in West Africa.
Exactly. And that would be quite uncomfortable, because we already have a military government in Niger.
Yes.
And
so many other countries. There's also Burkina Faso.
Well, I'm even talking about the body countries.
Yes.
My view is that we couldn't afford, another neighboring country like Benin. So I support the fact that we had to intervene. But of course, we want our military to also be as decisive, internally.
But now it's important to also mention, as much as we can be full of praise of ECOWAS, ECOWAS too has to find a mechanism to stop leaders, democratically elected leaders, from rigging elections, manipulating their term limit, and arresting opposition candidates. You understand? So these things fester, and it makes the population upset, and it, in many ways, invites those military, those boys to come and take over.
Well, how can ECOWAS do that, considering that those are internal matters of the...
Well, they have to find a mechanism. They really have to, because it's, in many cases, look at Guinea-Bissau. Yes. So yes. It wasn't, and it's a huge shame. And so ECOWAS has to come up with something to ensure that those preventative actions are taken. When in Ivory Coast too, the opposition were either barred or detained, so it's, if you have that, you're just asking for trouble. So we need to build those strong institutions that will ensure that, democratic rights are held to, and elections are honored.
But Mr. Oshodi, that the Nigerian opposition will respond to that and say, we need that in Nigeria too.
We have it in Nigeria. I'm sure we have it. You can criticize the government anywhere. You can go form a party. Nobody is stopping you. I really think it's not a good comparison.
Well, so let's round up. I wanted to talk about the ambassadors list.
Yes.
So I think we've had about 67.
Yes.
Should we be expecting more, considering that we have over 100 foreign missions and embassies?
I hope so. I think, again, it's the president's prerogative and his timing. We haven't had ambassadors in 2 years, so thank God we're having them now, and high commissioners. But we've generally had about 109 foreign missions would be held by ambassadors. Some countries loop together to ensure, and also international organizations, African Union, United Nations, things like that. So I hope we have more. But I'm just happy that we started the process. This is going to help us in our communication regarding ensuring we have security needs taken care of, financial, getting loans, getting facilities, ensuring that we have, also cultural. Our cultural needs portrayed with people who know about our Afrobeat or Nollywood, and it's very important that those people on ground to be able to help us communicate and put those linkages together.
Right.
It's so I think it's a good step. Right. Let's hope we have more.
Okay.
Yeah, yes.
Just last question. So in Mr. Bayo Onuga's statement, announcing the three ambassadors, the first set.
Yes.
He mentioned the names of Mr. Kayode Are, Mr. Ayoke.
Yes.
And I think Alhaji Dalhatu.
Yes.
Now, and he did indicate that those three are going to the US, UK, and France.
Yes.
So can you tell us specifically who is going to the US, UK, and France? He just said that those three are going to those three countries, but he didn't indicate who is going to where.
I wish I did. I wish I knew. But the one I'm really excited about is whoever goes to the U.S. With all the attention from the Donald Trump administration, we need somebody ready to be on ground, to be able to speak with those senators and speak to the administration and ensure that Nigeria is not looked down upon as a dead country.
Hopefully we can get those ambassadors, like you said, on the ground.
Yes.
But how long do you think it's going to take, for them to, now that they have been cleared?
Yes.
About 67 of them have been cleared. How long do you think it will take for them to get on the job in their postings?
Yeah, this is it. So the president has nominated them. The Senate has vetted, and the Conservative Committee has approved them. So they're just going to go to the Senate itself for the vote.
Okay.
So that's the next phase. After that, they'll go through some sort of training on induction.
Okay, how long would that take?
It depends. It depends when the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and other agencies will bring that. Bureaucracy, we don't know. But after that, then the countries will hopefully receive them. But the countries receiving them is not always this uniform. So they're different stages. So some will take time. Some, will tell them to wait. Some other people will say, come, but you can't present your papers, so your accreditation for weeks, maybe even months. So they can be on ground, but they really don't have the bona fide right to represent
their credentials.
Exactly. So all that it is rather hard to give exact time frame. But I'm hoping, with again passing of the Nigerian budget of 2026, it will give more funds available, because the missions have not been used for a while. So I'm hoping things would have been resuscitated for these people and their families to join them.
Yeah.
But hopefully, we'll have it early next year, by the grace of God.
Okay, by the grace of God.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ademola Oshodi, for coming to Inside Sources, and thank you for your national service.
Thank you.
And we hope for the best.
Thank you very much, Mr. Konde. Thank you.
Thanks.
Cool.
And there you have it, another edition of Inside Sources. Like we always say, Nigeria will prevail. It means Nigeria will win. My name is Laulu Akonde. Thank you for watching, and by the grace of God, I'll see you at the next edition.